Welcome. You made it to my fire starter chat experience. The sun is going up, so the light is changing. I'm here in Indonesia, where I moved to try something completely different in my life, for my family, but also professionally.
The teacher gamer. The blend of the tabletop gamer and the teacher. It's when education combines with playing games, leading games, getting people into strategies, collaborating, having fun, learning new things, getting new bases of knowledge, negotiating together, taking risks, and having that opportunity to really get to know one another.
I'm going to show you some footage of what it was like 8 years ago when I was working in a high school in Canada. And I tried something really new there. I tried bringing mindfulness into the classroom. I wanted to figure out a way to re-motivate students because for the most part they were coming back as dropouts to finish their diplomas. So I had to really think about what are some ways that I can bring into my actual class, even though this main skill I'm teaching them is literacy, some way to give them strength to go out into the world and to consider how to build their lives and to feel good about themselves and to reshape their identity and build confidence into their own educational experience.
If we are not custodians of our own bodies, how can we help others or be custodians of the earth? Education has to have impact. It needs to teach students to zoom out and see their lives from many perspectives, become more aware of others, and clarify all the different contexts they are part of. It needs to guide students to zoom in and connect to their own motivations, goals, and values. As meaning takes hold in their own lives, they can better appreciate and empower others. Students must become connoisseurs of form, exploring aesthetics constantly and drawing parallels between all forms of nature, relationships, literature, numbers, art, and music.
So everybody's familiar with this. We all had to earn one, probably. For the most part, everybody here did. No matter where you were around the world, and I don't know that that's true for everybody, but we were given a mortar board. Now look at the wall behind me. It's not there for simple reasons. It's there for a complex one. It's to make us think about each one of us was given a mortar board. Each one of us was given that which would help cement us on top of the wall that we're building. I mean, just building a wall is a symbol, but getting a mortar board as your graduating tool is a big symbol in itself. Well, I'm not going to throw this, and I'm not going to destroy it. I earned it, and so did all of you, and so will all of our students in general. But I want to bring it to my students' mind what it is that they're earning and what it is, what kind of world we're building. Are we building walls? Is that what's happening? And in some cases we do need to build them, but there are other symbols, and when it comes down to my identity and who I am and what I'm trying to do in this world, building a wall is just not it.
When I was a kid, I played thousands of hours of role-playing games. It's part of what got me through. It expanded my relationships, it kept me creative, and even when I wasn't at the game table, my relationships changed and I got better perspective about them with my family, at school, in the early jobs I took. And it kind of went into my life like that. It just became part of the pattern of what was me. Life moved on, I started a family, my professional life took different turns, and eventually I went and did a master's in education, and I really focused in on what is authentic learning? What motivates students? Why do people want to learn? And what I found was that there was something about game theory that I could now bring into the classroom. And lo and behold, life caught up with me, and it brought me back to this moment where I could share games with students. And I started to figure out how to put it into the curriculum. I started to figure out how to fulfill the objectives that were handed down to me from the administration, and at the same time, enliven and engage children and students that when they would leave school and go home, they'd be talking about it with their parents. It actually was expanding the bonding time that parents were having with their kids. And all this just brought me to a new realization that we can bring more to education from our hobbies and our passions. And yes, we can keep pouring money into ed tech and into AI, but what about pouring money and time and energy and resources into bonding experiences, relationships, and ways for people to connect with each other face to face? We can't replace the human experience and the teacher-student relationship with technology. Yes, we can use technology to expand on better learning habits and giving opportunities and resources to students, but we cannot forego the opportunity to understand relationships in a deeper way, in a way that expands their socio-emotional horizons.
I'd like to share another symbol with you that's really important in my life and has been made a huge difference to me as a person. And it wasn't for any strange reason that in 4th grade, I was already struggling with my identity, and I was already struggling with who I was, and I was struggling and already having actual nightmares about becoming an adult and going to work. In 4th grade, my parents moved me to another school thinking that would help, and it did, but not because of school. It's because I found something, and I want to show you what it is. I learned about the 20-sided die, and it's symbolic of role-playing games, and specifically Dungeons and Dragons. I learned about it in 5th grade, and it transformed me forever. It gave me a different way of looking at life. It showed me, and on that first day, my character died. On that first day, I had an intense failure. And just to keep the story really short here, you can see more about it or listen to some of the interviews that have been done of me where I go through the whole story, but my character died, I walked away crying, I cried myself to sleep, but the next morning, I came back and I learned that I could continue playing and I could get another chance, and that my failure was something to build on. My failure was something to give me insight into how to do things better, how to live better, because in fact I was living a life of a character and I didn't do very well. And I wasn't doing very well in life. So it was immediately a metaphor and connection and symbol that went through me like a lightning bolt. It just grounded me into my life. And I continued from there all the way till now, where now I've made it a major part of education and bringing kids into an opportunity to fail, find their identity, to collaborate, to be creative, and to be part of a community in a different way, to look at what it's like to be an adult, but playing a game and having an exciting moment between their friends, where the stakes are high on the tabletop, but there's opportunity to try and take risks. And this is what's so big. And the greatest thing about it is that it's all implicit.
This one goes out to the teacher gamers. There's 36 different skills that you're learning implicitly. And that's what's so beautiful about it for teachers, is that You're just asking them to play games. You're asking them to create stories. You're asking them to roll dice. You're asking them to set up and consider possibilities, probabilities, take risks, and expand on their knowledge of the subject matter. You can use so much of role-playing games to develop all sorts of different lesson plans around the game and then expanding it. Your homework can be any kind of knowledge-based inquiry that you want to have. For self-directed learning, this is an amazing place for people to expand on whatever it is that they want to do. The role-playing game itself just provides the setting, provides some rules, but the rules can be broken, the rules can be changed, the rules can be integrated, and you can create a whole new role-playing game of your own. You don't have to use one of the published ones. You could actually make a game and publish it yourself. I've been able to figure out how to integrate all of the adventure experience into the educational context. This is the place where we can work together, where teachers, especially co-teaching together, can find ways to connect with their students on a different relationship level. It's not about the students coming and getting things from you. They're not knowledge receptacles. You are able to expand your relationship where they trust you in a different way. They're able to fail in front of you because they're playing a character. They're able to expand and look after themselves and each other, and then be able to ask for help in a different way. So when they go back to that subject class that you also teach, they have an opportunity in a different way to approach you. They trust you in a different way.
And as a teacher, and as them coming into my classroom, they have to, in essence, do what it is that I require of them. So I can be quite rigid. I can demand a lot from my students, but the thirst to play, the motivation to try, and the experience of failing and being frustrated with fear, even with tears sometimes. This is the power of getting back up again and trying again, or having that spontaneous moment where somebody right there with you goes, come on, you got this, let's do it, you got this, come on. And also that we need it. We're doing a group project. And the game is not putting them against each other. The game puts them together collaborating. So also that, someone is not trying to win over another person. All of these things and more is what makes it transformative to a level that I can only try to show you.
In signing up to it, I think he went in with a kind of really nice attitude to it, which was good, and also it attracted a lot of his friends. I think he did more writing in that course than he had done in the previous 3 or 4 years of school combined. I mean, I couldn't believe it. There were just pages and pages and pages. To see it unfold and to listen to the conversations at the end of the day were just made a mother's heart sing. You know, there was focus, there was energy, and the best bit, there was joy. And you know what? It just opened actually a gateway. It just got a crack in the door a little bit for this child to re-engage with education.
I took it because I just thought it looked like a really interesting experience. It really stuck out from the other options we had. I think it forces you to adapt to new situations because it puts you in those situations that you wouldn't be in your everyday life. So it kind of forces you to form new ways of thinking. The whole point of the game is that you're putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and that's pretty much what empathy is. I think it's amazing that I got to play Dungeons & Dragons as an academic experience, and I think a lot of people kind of close themselves off to that idea because they don't actually understand how much real thinking and real work goes into just playing the game, all the rule books, all the writing you have to do. I think if they could see that, then they would actually be pretty open to the idea of having that in their life.
The future is definitely uncertain. It's definitely volatile. We are in a world that is shifting and changing, not just the way it's described in Peter Diamandis and Stephen Kotler's Faster, the future is faster than you think, but we got hit with this pandemic and it's affected everybody. And I often quip that, you know, everybody was worried about a big shift 2012 or, you know, something that was happening, and well, it's not the shift I think anybody thought they were going to get. And at the same time, luckily, for the most part, it's not Mad Max. We're not all running around with rifles and backpacks and breath masks trying to figure out where to get our next meal and who to trust and all sorts of nightmare science fiction apocalypse situation. We got a little taste and it's hurt so many people, and my heart goes out to all the friends and family and everyone in the world where we're struggling. But it connected us in a way that we can never take back. And it's caused us to need to adapt. And adapt is one of the first of the 36 skills in the role-playing games skill set. We have to adapt. And many of us who didn't know what adaptation was or how to even figure it out, because we're so used to going to the four-walled school experience, it threw us. It was horrible. It still is. And we're trying to figure out how to adapt, but that's what we can do. That's what we are made to do. That's what humans have in their DNA, is the ability to adapt. And yes, it's biological, so we will do it, but we can also work on it. We can also try things. We can also set up different situations where we can learn how to adapt, how to collaborate, how to not be bystanders, how we can be together and look into discrimination, how we can look at systemic problems and face them and work together and not competitively against each other, but with one another. And how we can bring that into the classroom, into a game experience, into something that, for lack of a better word, you have fun doing and you're excited to do it. You can read all about it, you can check out some articles, all those things, and I'd love to take some questions from you after this seminar. So thanks again, and have a look, and I'll be back in a second to talk more.
Remember those epic campaigns in the role-playing game scenarios where you had to make that clinching decision, you had to make that critical role, you had to choose between this or that? Well, this is that moment as well, because right now, how we're going to develop our professional lives and our experiences with our students is one in which we have a decision if we want to integrate these socio-emotional opportunities into our teaching. Administrators, this is an opportunity for you to bring a whole new, fresh outlook into schools that's face-to-face, that's connected, that's playing games, that's expanding on their knowledge and skills. This is a place where you can pull people from the community to bring them into skills training. And to those who want to take their passions and their hobbies and bring them into their teaching. This is a place where we want to find that moment where we can see together how to expand relationships and send our students off into the world prepared and feeling confident and disciplined.